Excuse me, please. My ear is full of milk. Legends, superstars, coins, agers, Laurel and Hardy once again in this episode. This is Going Bye Bye from 1934, 21-minute short film. And this one, Stan and Ollie are forced to leave town after giving evidence that lands a vicious gangster behind bars. This also stars Walter Long as the guy that gets put in prison. Sent to prison. Spoilers, doesn't actually make it to prison before the end of this year. And yes, Mae Bush is in here as well. So, at the beginning of the film, we're in court. The judge is passing sentence on Walter Long, and Stan and Ollie are watching everything taking place. And Walter's asked, if you get any final words before we pass sentence, and he's like, no. And the judge says, you're going to be behind bars for the rest of your natural life. And Stanley pipes up, are you not going to hang him? At which point Walter Long goes crazy, starts wrecking the courtroom, and everybody scatters, runs for their lives. And outside the court, Oliver's like getting at Stanley, why did you have to open your mouth, get us into this trouble? Everything was okay until you said, aren't you going to hang him? And this guy walks up that was in the court, and he's like, if I was you guys, I would get out of town as soon as you can, because prison is not going to hold this guy. And Stan and Ollie come up with the idea, we'll put an advertisement in the paper for someone to share the travelling costs and travel across country with them, because they don't have the funds available to actually leave the city on their own. So they put an advertisement in the newspaper, and the following day newspaper arrives in Stanley. There's a brilliant little sequence in this where Stanley is about to read the advertisement that he put in the newspaper to Ollie, and he's trying to simply put his glasses on so he can read the newspaper. And it's one of these skits where he sets the newspaper down on the chair, goes to get his glasses, puts them on, sits down in the chair and starts looking for the newspaper, can't find it because he's sitting on it, and he takes his glasses off to find the newspaper, and ends up setting the glasses on the chair and sitting down and breaking them, and of course tries to put them on again, and he can't see because they're broke, obviously. And then he's like, it's no wonder I couldn't see through these glasses, they're yours. And he's broken Oliver's glasses. There's a lot of comedy in this sequence in the room where they're trying to get packed up to leave. While Oliver's packing the clothes and whatnot in one room, Stanley is in the kitchen, and he is supposed to be, packing up the kitchen utensils and that sort of thing. And at one point, he reaches up to take a jar of milk off one of the shelves. As Ollie says, we probably will need that, bring it with us. And he knocks a razor blade off the shelf into a little scrubbing brush, and that's setting up for a joke that's just about to happen. The phone rings. It's one of these old school telephones where you lift the mic or the receiver off the little latch, put it to your ear, and you talk into the receiver on the wall, sort of thing. And Stanley answers the phone rings, and it's Mae Bush. She's seen the newspaper ad, and she wants to, jump into this, chance of moving out of the city, sort of thing. So if you're with the film at this point, you know exactly where this is going to lead to. And of course, Oliver comes over to take the call from Stanley. And Stanley, instead of handing the receiver, hands the milk to Oliver, and he puts the little jar of milk up to his ear, expecting to hear the woman, and pours the milk into his ear and all down his coat. And one of the most famous lines on Laurel and Hardy history, excuse me please, my ear is full of milk. I don't know why that line sticks out so much for people, but you know, if you're on any of the online forums, like on Facebook and whatnot, any of the Laurel and Hardy pages, if there's ever a conversation comes up about the favourite lines from movies, that's usually up around the top, and the lines that people enjoy from these movies. So Oliver takes the coat off, the jacket he's wearing, he takes it off because it's covered in milk, and hands it to Stanley, tells him to go and brush it down. So of course, from earlier on, we seen the razor blade fell into the little brush. Stanley goes to the kitchen and of course starts brushing down the coat. And Oliver takes the call from the woman, and we get she tells him she wants to get involved in this road trip. Oliver gets her address and he says we'll be right over, and goes to the kitchen to get his jacket off Stanley, and of course it's in shreds. So yes, we cut from that to Maybush's apartment, and we hear sirens outside the window, and knocking and hammering at the window. When she opens it up, Walter Long's character gets through the window, and she's, of course, if you know Laurel and Hardy films and potentially where things is going to go, this is no big shock to you. He's escaped and came back to her, and she wanted to leave the city when he got arrested to get away from him, pretty much. So while they're talking, the doorbell rings at her apartment, and of course, first thing I think is the cops have followed him. They're at the house. She says, jump out the window again, get down the fire escape, and he's like, there's no point if it's the police. They've had the whole place surrounded. So they go to the bedroom. There's a trunk that she has out to pack her things, and he gets into that, and she closes it. Hide in here, I'll get rid of them. If worse comes to worse, you can shoot your way out. So she answers the door. Of course, it's Stan and Ollie, and she explains the situation to them, that she's got a friend here. Can he come along, sort of a thing. He'll pitch in for some money as well, and they're all up for it. Stan and Ollie, being who they are, they're always wanting to be as helpful as possible, so they're all up for it. And they go to the bedroom to try and get him out of the box, and not knowing that it's the guy they're trying to get away from is in this box. But the lock accidentally locked whenever she closed the box, so he's trapped in there. He's got no air. He's quickly running out of air, and they're coming up with a whole load of different ideas to try and get him out of the box, and it's like drilling holes into it to give him some air, sort of a thing. And Maybush leaves to sort some more things out, and she gets busted by the police. They've been waiting on her. They know Walter Long's character, if he's out, he's going to go to her. And yes, I keep saying Walter Long's character. What is his name in this movie? Butch Long in this movie, his name is. So Butch is in the box. Maybush gets caught by the police, and where's Butch at? And she's like, wouldn't you like to know, sort of a thing. So they know where he's at, so it's only a matter of time before the police get to the apartment now to arrest him. Back at the apartment, he's still in the box. Stan and Ollie are trying to saw the box open and whatnot. Well, Stanley's sawing the box, and Oliver's sat down with the feet crossed, chilling out on a chair in the room. And in the box, Butch is looking through one of the little air holes that they've drilled for him, and sees Oliver, and he's like, yes, rubbing his hands together, sort of thing. They're here. I can get them. I'm going to get my revenge. And he pipes up, guys, I've got a great idea. Get a blowtorch and we'll melt the lock off. And one of the funniest parts in this entire movie is whenever they ignite the blowtorch, and the flame shoots through one of the air holes into the trunk along with Butch, and it bounces up into the air and does a somersault, lands in the middle of the room, and the whole place just falls apart during this. And he's caught fire in the box. You can see all the smoke starting to come out of it. So they get the hose from the hallway, the fire extinguisher hose, and put it into the box and turn it on. And of course, there's just water shooting out of the holes, and you can hear him bubbling inside it, trying to speak. Let me out. Turn it off. And they run, turn it back off now that the flames is out, and the box explodes. Butch is free. They run back into the room, and of course he's standing waiting on them, and he makes a dive for them. And now at the beginning of the film, he did threaten that when he got hold of them, he would rip their legs off and tie them around their neck. So in the final sequence of the movie, you see Stan and Ollie running from the sitting room, followed by Butch. The camera stays in this room, and you hear the screams and the racking going on in the other room of Butch falling to them. And at this point, the police bust in, run through the sitting room and the other room, and drag Butch out. And then we cut into the other room, and Stan and Ollie are from the waist up on the couch with their legs removed and tied around their neck. And Oliver delivers that classic line, "Well, this is another fine mess you've gotten me into." And Stanley starts crying and getting on the way he usually does. Brilliant, brilliant little movie. This is, I told you pretty much the majority of things that happens within this short film, but I have, trust me, I have not ruined it for you completely. I left out a lot of the slapstick moments in here. When they start, they come thick and fast, and you know, there's a brilliant, as I said earlier in the movie, when they're trying to get packed to leave the room, there's a few jokes that happen in there, and a few little stunts and falls that are just brilliantly done. These guys are just real life cartoon characters, and this is definitely one that you're really going to enjoy. I've got no doubt of that.